taught you to hate the color of your skin? Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?
Most of us blacks, or Negroes as he called us, really thought we were free without being aware that in our subconscious, all those chains we thought had been struck off were still there. And there were many ways where what really motivated us was our desire to be loved by the white man. Malcolm meant to lance that sense of inferiority. He knew it would be painful. He knew that people could kill you because of it, but he dared to take that risk.
He was saying something over and above that of any other leader of that day. While the other leaders were begging for entry into the house of their oppressor, he was telling you to build your own house.
So had that asked me, I would have said, you know, before you praise this president for being pro-black, before you praise this president for caring about ethnic communities and marginalized populations, do your homework. Well, some of y'all didn't do your homework. They didn't do their homework. So let me tell you just a little bit of research, not just him personally, but also some of his policies. Perhaps before they went and sat at this table, they should have done their homework. Because if they had done their homework, they would have known that President Trump has ramped up mass incarceration by instructing Attorney General Jeff Sessions to revitalize the war on drugs. They would have known that of the 87 picks for federal judges, 85 have been white and just one has been black and one has been Hispanic. They would have known that President Trump supported the Department of Justice engaging in unlawful voter purges, making it difficult for blacks to go and vote. They would have known that Trump is ending protection for predatory lenders, which disproportionately harm black people. They would have known that he is ignoring the affordable housing crisis by ordering HUD to triple the rents of poor tenants in public housing, which mostly affect black people. Do your homework. They would have known that he is proposing cutting $200 billion over the next 10 years from supplemental nutrition assistance programs that will bring more hunger in black and brown communities. They would have known that Trump is worsening the health of black communities through environmental deregulation, which disproportionately harms black people through exposure to pollution. Now, that's just a few on the policy side, but you don't have to go too far to ask what about him personally would make me know that he is not pro-black. I'm glad you asked, because in 1970, Trump's real estate company tried to avoid renting apartments to black tenants and gave preferential treatment to white tenants. He began his 2016 presidential campaign with a speech disparaging Mexican immigrants as criminals and rapists. Y'all remember that? In 2016, he said of people of color, you are living in poverty, your schools are no good, you have no jobs. Hold on, I'm a product of a HBCU and I'm a product of black school systems and black teachers. Don't you ever tell me that my black schools are... Hold on, I ain't done. He says you have no jobs, so what do you have to lose from electing me? In 2017, Trump said 15,000 recent immigrants from Haiti all have AIDS, and 40,000 Nigerians once seeing the United States would want to go back to their huts in Africa. He spent years suggesting that the nation's first black president was not a citizen of these United States. He called Puerto Ricans whose criticism criticized his administration's response to Hurricane Maria. He called them politically motivated ingrates. Hold on, but he called those who marched beside white supremacists in Charlottesville, Virginia, he called them very fine people. He hired Steve Bannon, a white nationalist, as his chief strategist. He called Haiti and other African nations S-hole countries, and he's taking credit for an economy that has not been built on his administration, but was built on the backs of 8 years of hard work under the Obama administration. Negroes, please, don't you come up in here talking about this is the most pro-black president that you have ever seen when the record suggests that he cares nothing about people of color.
There it is. There it is. Welcome tonight. We're a little bit late, but welcome back to the No PC Show, Thursday night edition. We're going to have a serious conversation tonight because I got into a back and forth with a friend of mine about this dude, number 45, and all the nonsense that they like to spew out about how great he's doing and what he's done for the economy, and just overlooking everything Obama did, not for black people, but for America. Because I'm always going to stick to that. What did he do for black people? Sorry, Obama. You did everything. You bailed out the housing industry. You bailed out the auto industry. You bailed out the banks. And we got the short end of that. For everybody on the Facebook side of things, if you go to where I put a link out there, if you click on that link, it'll bring you directly over to the YouTube side. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button. That really help us out. And you can see the graphics that will be getting displayed on the page, because we're going to do a whole little history lesson here to help everyone really see this country for what it is and what it does. And we're going to stop pretending like my friend. I told him, I said, you know what? Let's really stop the pretense. As the man said, and I'm going to bring it up on the screen as we talk about it, all the things he was talking about, and your boy Donald Trump, making cuts to everything that's related to us, and we're always going to get the low end of it, where it was estimated there would be $70 billion for education. He's cut that down to $59 million. He's cut out a lot of grant programs and training programs. I wish I would have had the slide. I can't see the slide on this particular screen. Usually your system is supposed to sync up, and that would have been nice if it did sync, but it didn't sync, so technical glitch. But if you're looking at the screen, you'll notice the Department of Defense has a budget. He went from $716 billion to $686 billion. Homeland Security went from $48 billion to $62 billion. Now, you put that in there because he still wants the wall. He went from energy. He cut that from $35 billion to $29 billion. HUD, $43 billion to $29 billion, hoping to kick more people off of Section 8 and Section 4 and all this type of stuff that goes on there. NASA, he went from $20 billion to $19 billion. All the other agencies, $180 billion to $133 billion. But it doesn't give you details, and I had the whole detail. I hate when I don't have everything. The whole detail report says everything that he's been putting in place is going to increase the deficit over the next that's 2020, over the next 7 years to up to $10 trillion. Where it was at 3.3 trillion. That's what the budget was, 3.3 trillion. But you got all these yahoos out here. Ooh, Trump is great. He's incredible. Look at all the money we're making. And as I told my friend, you got to choose morality or capitalism. Because I was being called a socialist. Oh, you care about people. You're a socialist. Yeah, a socialist with some morality to it. But I put out all these numbers because I wanted everyone to see something. Because we always relate it back to us and what happens with us in this country and why I call it a BS shithole country, using Trump's words to describe other countries. How many black people are in America? African Americans, descendants of slaves. How many? It's around $44 million. 44 million black people. If they decided, hey, let's going to give everybody reparations, and we're going to give every black person in America $2 million and forgive their debts for school and all this, and, you know, this will make it even. If they're retired, then they'll just get their $2 million. They don't have to spend any money. They're retired, so they can pass that wealth on down to their grandkids, and this would be fair. $88 million will be all it took for America to make it right with black people. But they haven't done it. We're sitting up here talking about billions of dollars that's been spent on everything. 3.3 trillion annually. Nobody thinks this is strange, that all it would take is $100 million to start reparations for black people. Want to know something else interesting? I was at the NAACP site, and they said they spent, let me see if I can find this, if I can share this with you all. Let me pull it up on the screen before I try to share it. In 2012, where is it at? Can't find it. But in 2012, they spent $81 billion on imprisoning people in America. $81 billion for imprisoning people in America. That's white, blacks, everybody. But we take up a big part of that system. Being 14% of the population, we're like 58% of the prison population. We're more likely to go to jail, more likely not to be able to get a job if you go to jail. And I'm not making excuses for people. Let's talk about it from the start. Let's talk about slavery. Came out to about 360 years. If you count 1,500, and some of the original black people that came over weren't slaves, but then they were forced into slavery. So from 1,500 or 1,592 to 1865, at the end of slavery, there were about 4 million slaves in North America. We all know that the Middle Passage sent a lot of people to Jamaica, Cuba, South America, all the little Caribbean islands. That's where the majority of the slaves went. The numbers aren't clear how many hit America, but it's between 500,000 and 1 million that hit America. We're not talking about how many were lost at sea on this 2 to 3 month voyage, how many were thrown overboard. We're not talking about all that. But I like collective numbers, so let's talk collectively. 65 million black people were ripped from the Ivory Coast of Africa, West Coast of Africa, South Africa, and drug across the seas to this country. That doesn't bother anybody. How much is that worth? Oh, that's not worth anything. Okay. So slaves get freed. What type of education do they have? Even though there were some educated blacks in the world, the majority were still 73% of the black population in America at the time that slavery ended was in the South. So then they come up with this whole Reconstruction thing, right? Well, we got the Reconstruction and we're going to do right by black folks. And they put these laws and rules in effect. 15th, 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments, ending slavery, giving us the right to vote, giving us the right to participate in the American dream. And guess what? That might have been pretty good. Except for the one problem. Let's see. President Andrew Johnson was president in 1865 and 1866. And he instituted a Southern state legislation and passed restrictive black codes to control the labor and behavior of former slaves and other Americans. You're not telling me that the president of the United States of America did something bogus like that? Is this what we're supposed to be saluting the flag for? So after that, people in the North were kind of outraged, like, man, these codes are kind of strict here. So we go into the Reconstruction era, which was led by the Republican Party. The Republican Party loves to tell us how great they were to black people. And I guess all this would have been really nice, and it would have worked out for black people in their newfound ability to franchise and have a voice in government and win some elections in some southern states. But guess what happened? In less than a decade, all these reactionary forces started showing up. The Ku Klux Klan, your government. All this became a whole backlash against black people. So this is what Byron Allen is in court now, talking about the 1866 Civil Rights Act. But Trump and his boys were in court fighting the black man. All he wanted to do is see if he could get some of his stations on Comcast or Charter. And they were giving them all this yah-yah, and now they not going to make a decision till June. This is the game that is constantly played with us time after time after time. They play the waiting game. And we keep falling for the waiting game. I mean, we had options in America. But we chose to fight to be a part of a system that would destroy us or would attempt to destroy us. Martin Luther King said it himself. He said it didn't cost nothing to integrate lunch counters. It didn't cost nothing to really integrate schools. There was no money, separate and equal. It was just separate and unequal. But to reestablish black people in America, as I told my friend, the Jews, yeah, they had 10 years of a rough time, not in America, but across the seas. We're only concerned with the issues in America and what America did to us. But the Jews got land. They got factories. They got training. They got money. They got an opportunity to restore themselves and their beliefs. And you're not allowed to have a swastika or anything like that over there. You will be in prison. But we get to see statues, Confederate flags. We got Yahoos all on TV. Got your president supporting the Yahoos all on TV. Malcolm preached separation. Well, at least when he was with Elijah Muhammad, that was the Muslim standpoint of separation because they felt that they could not be trusted. And Martin Luther King came to that same thing, that it's hard to trust these people because these people have chosen not to be fair. So when you're dealing with unfair people, how do you wrap yourself in a flag? I was working on another poem. Everybody knows one of my favorite poems is They Want Me to Be a Nigger. And on this show, this is the No PC show. We don't do none of that political correctness stuff. If you're offended, easily offended, don't watch the show. Go watch something else that's going to be entertaining for you. We're not here to entertain. We got to keep it simple because it's getting outrageous. Read some of this poem for you. We caught up in the game for lanes. First is slavery, and now they calling it another name. Politics, capitalism, let's just call it fuckism. Designed to imprison your mind, it's just slavery of a different kind. Doing time on the rewind. What Chuck D used to say? We brothers are the same mind, but I'm blind. Got these blacks wrapping themselves up in flags. I just laugh because I'm gas. On that flag, I'm a pass. Like loaded dice, you rolling for life in a game you can't win. You lose, then you lose again. Calling Whitey master and your brother bastard, hard to relate to a nigga's laughter. They have you convinced that all that matters is money. Are you a capitalist or just a big dummy? Land of the free and land of the brave. Go against the system and we'll make you a slave. But wait a minute, they never freed us in the first place. They just gave us a taste just to keep us in place. They made you part of the rat race. Or did they just make us another case? Wasting time to stand in line. They economically destroyed you. They underemployed you. And then they got annoyed with you. And then they said, well, nigga, what you gonna do? I mean, what you gonna do? You gonna rep the red, white, and blue? You know how we do. You know how we do. White lies and alibis, more brothers die, more sisters die, more black people die, and every day we ask why. You gonna stand by your master with the fake laughter with the banner? You the same nigga that was ignoring the Panthers. You can't forget. You can't forget. Or have we already forgotten? It's time for sides to be chosen. You up here posing. What position are you holding? If money is all that matters, go over there. Search for what they're giving you. That's what you after. Who stole the gold? Who destroyed the road and who created the mold? I got one question for my brothers and sisters. Who stole the soul? It's not funny out here, dude. We sit up here every day listening to these people on TV pushing these lies. And then we put our kids in the same system. Nobody care about Donald. This dude, even if he gets impeached, he just gonna go back to being rich. Anybody want to talk about it tonight? 872-267-2552. That's 872-267-2552. Stop protecting these people. 2 million for 44 million black people. 2 million each. And I'm just throwing that out there because we did a whole show. We know what it would take. Why are black people paying for school in America, period? You know what would happen? I did a scenario. You know what would happen if all the black people got $2 million each in a section of land? We'd all leave. We'd all be like, I'm over here now. But that would take a large chunk out of the American economy. What? Y'all not with us no more? The only reason we're with you is because of the economic restraints that destroy the people and help the nation. Oh, well, when the Industrial Revolution came around, we barely didn't need you blacks. We did that all on our own. Where'd you get the money from? Did you know during slavery, 73% of the cotton distributed around the world came from South United States? 73%. Let's not talk about the tobacco and rice and other crops that were grown in the Caribbean, the sugar cane. So for 300 years, you got paid and we got nothing. And you got all us sitting around here arguing over $100 million. Y'all, if it's a $3 trillion budget, and all you would have to do is forgive a little debt here and there and take care of the descendants of slaves, oh, y'all acting like that would corrupt the system, but they spending $8.1 billion a year to imprison people. Billions. $20 billion a year on space. Do we care about space? I was watching the show the other day. It is amazing. I don't want to call people dumb, but how gullible people are in the world. You can't move this planet. There's no getting off this planet for us to go anywhere. Your boy Donald Trump cut a whole bunch of budget for a whole lot of stuff concerning global climate. He cut a big chunk, like 26% of the EPA budget for parks and stuff like that. No, cut that. There's no such thing as climate control. He basically saying we don't care about climate control. There's things that happen on the earth that have, destroyed the whole ecosystem of the earth. I always say, hey, the planet will be here. We'll be dead. I've already reconciled that into my mind. I'm not getting caught up in we need to go to Mars and spend $20 billion to go to Mars. What you going to Mars for? If that big orange thing in the sky blows up, you don't have to worry about anything. You're dead. If something big comes from outer space and hits this planet, you don't have to worry about it. You're dead. But we trying to live right here on Earth, and you can't take $100 million to start off out your $20 billion budget or your $21 budget, because what you're saying to us, America, is this what's important to us. As long as you Negroes want to sit here and complain and boo-hoo, let Oprah give you the 88 million. Let Tyler Perry give you the 88 million. They got it. Because we ain't giving you nothing. Like Bernie Sanders says, well, you know, it would be impossible to institute something like that. You know, they just don't want to write checks. And I'm not for writing checks and putting money in people's hands. I'm for stipulations with the money. Yes, you get your $2 million after you finish this free education, after you get off drugs. This section, you get to move into this section once you do all these things. And this is your part of the country. Oh, this guy is talking separation. Sometimes you need to separate to get things together. Sometimes people in a marriage, they separate so they individually can get things back together, and then they can come back and can be one again. It has come to that point in America because America's going, shh. But as my friend said, well, this is the greatest place in the world to be black. I said, why? Because you got the opportunity to make money. We always say we don't care about individual success. Yeah, you can get out here individually and make all the money in the world, and you can team up with everybody except your brothers and sisters, which is just amazing to me. I'm not knocking anybody that does anything with any other group. That's fine. I'm talking about us. I'm talking about all the nonsense that we listen to and we see and participate, and we wait and wait and wait. To have your own nation or whatever, you have to be in charge of educating your own children. You have to be capable of feeding your own people. You have to be capable of protecting your own people. We're not doing any of that. We send our kids to the enemy to be educated because the biggest fear is if we don't, they're not going to survive in this system. Now, we talk about the millennials, but I call them Millennial X now. I basically broke it down into a thing. It was the end of slavery, Reconstruction, Industrial Revolution, Jim Crow, Civil Rights Movement, Fight the Power Movement, and then No Movement. But I'm liking, a lot of people are hard on the rappers and things like this, and I used to be kind of hard on them too, until I started seeing some of them get smart. They had a comedian there on TMZ today, and he was talking about all these business opportunities that he was able to invest in, and all these companies became $1 million, and a few came $1 billion corporations, and he made his money. And so now he's trying to give back by offering money to black businesses. And he's bringing others, and others are starting to team up together. So all the entertainers and athletes that got this money, instead of screwing it off all the time, they're starting to wake up too. So we got everybody running around here talking about, I'm woke, I'm woke, I'm woke. You not woke. You're asleep in a war zone, and you act like there's no war going on. You got to wake up tired sometime. I see the condition. I grew up in the condition. Don't tell me about living in projects. Don't tell me about getting chased by the gangs, shot at, harassed by the police. Don't tell me about none of that stuff. Don't tell me about the Department of Children and Family Service and the nonsense that they put the families through. Don't tell me about your government and the drugs that they introduced into this culture, and then turned their back and said, war on drugs. Where a white boy and a black boy get caught with the same thing, and the black boy is 6 times likely to go to jail. That if you don't have any money, you go into jail. That's what Johnny Cochran said when he was prosecuting all these black kids, and it was aching him in his stomach. But come on, let's be Americans. Let's support the system. This is a great system. It does everything. It incarcerates us. It imprisons us in our neighborhoods and urban ghettos, and then it tells lies. There was a lawsuit, I want to say maybe a few years ago, with the Asians and Harvard, and I guess they had some laws or something at Harvard where, to make it even, because the Asians were outperforming everybody in the education field, okay, well, the Asians had to get a 2 to 3 times higher score on the SATs to get into Harvard than the white man. And then the Asians came back and sued, and then the Asians told a story, which I found that was incredible because it sounded like our story. So in their suit, they're saying, we were forced to live in ghettos. This is what the Asians put in their deposition. We were forced to live in urban ghettos, and we were attacked by white mobs. I don't know if this happened or not. It just sounds a lot like our story. We can't let people use our story. And I know I'm going to offend some of the gay folks because they used our story. Everybody gets to use their story and have a, oh, woe is me moment, except us. I had to talk with one of my clients the other day, and she lived in South Africa for a while, and we had a discussion. I said, you know what I think? You know why you can't get reparations? Because you're an American. America doesn't pay reparations to Americans. You got to say, I'm not an American. Until I get, because if I was an American, there wouldn't be no need for extra laws on the book for me to be in America. The laws that were there would suffice. You could have rewrote the Constitution. It was fresh. Well, it was about 86 years old once we got freed. It just been 1776 to 1860. It only been a few years. You could have rewrote that. But we the only ones that got additional laws. So you give us all these laws in 1865, 1866, 1867. And then we got to wait a whole nother years to the end of Jim Crow, 1965, the year I was born. Thank God I was born at the end of Jim Crow. But I grew up with people that were born in the 1900s. And they saw it firsthand. And they told me about lynchings firsthand. And they told me about having to run in the middle of the night. They told me about the destruction as was relayed to them by people that were actually slaves. There's a documentary called The Slave Narratives where they talked to, I think they said there were about 100,000, but they didn't talk to 100,000, but they were talked to like 1,000 people that had lived through slavery and gave their eyewitness account of slavery. Oh, well, how did that affect you all? That was your ancestors. So we killed a few, we destroyed some families. What is this worth? I mean, forget about it. Use an American now. You said you wanted to be an American. Let's act like Americans now. Suck it on up. You never know what your life could have been like. We destroyed all that. Somebody put a funny quote on Facebook earlier today. They said the white man teaches you about black history. You clapping your hands. But if the black man tells you about history, what you say? Here go this nigga. That's called brainwashing. The lines are wide open. 872-267-2552. If you want to call in and voice your opinion, the line is open. I got the microphone turned up. You can call in. I don't ever want this show to just be about me and my opinions, whether you think they ignorant or not. The statistics show everything. The last, 55 years, we crying and waiting on something to come from these people. How many billions of dollars has America, trillions of dollars has America spent since 1965? How many? But we add up the number, and to pay reparations to black people would not cost that much. But we don't even want to talk about it. We want to give you the H.R. 40 that's been out there for the last 20 years. And even before that, there was another bill out there. And that bill was to say, let's take $100,000 and let's see, did this affect anybody? Because, I mean, a lot of black people are doing well now. You know, we got we gave you loans, so you paid us back. You're an American now. You know, you're successful. You got your house. You're taking care of your kids. This is great. Forget those other Negroes. They're not part of the system. They have not adapted. It is not our fault. It is not your responsibility to look out for them. You're with us now. You're a capitalist. This is a capitalist society. This is the best place on the planet to live it. Where else are you going to go? Because wherever you go, we're already causing havoc. We're causing havoc throughout this world, yet we are the ones that say we are the moral compass for the world. Amazing. I don't want to hear that capitalist talk. You know what I told my friend? I say, write us a check, America, with your rich ass. This is a capitalist society. It ain't going to cost you no trillions of dollars to help us out. That's going to cost a little bit of loan forgiveness. Going to cost a little bit of training. It's going to cost a little bit of education. May cost us a lot of separation. But I'm thinking a lot of people will be willing. I don't know how many black people happen to have $2 million in their pocket right now. But I know if I had $2 million in my pocket right now, deuces. We can't keep playing this game, people. Now, we didn't put out the number. We can be generous with it. $2 million for the 44 million black people that are in America. That's the start. Then we just go from there. And I'm sure we could easily run that up to 500 million with the loan forgiveness and everything else. And I don't care if it took $1 billion. If it took $1 billion and you took $1 billion out of that $20 billion NASA budget and made it right with black people in America, maybe we could say we're Americans. Maybe we could. But as long as we run around jumping, yahooing, and cheering for everything that's wrong with this place, we always going to be in the same place. Chuck D had a saying. It said, if I can't change the people around me, I change the people around me. I know I got on my soapbox tonight, and I really had to get it out. LZDA1. I mean, seriously, let's stop being passive with these people. The civil rights was passive enough. We took enough beatings, we took enough blows, and we didn't get anything. We had 8 years of Obama, and don't tell me anything about what no matter of fact, tell me something he did for black people. I'm not talking about for all people. Where's the legislation that said this must happen for black people? Well, he moved some student loan stuff around, and we was able to get some more grant money, and then this and right. What's wrong with us? Oh well, you know, our pastor said, Okay, your pastor is your spiritual person, your spiritual leader. He is not your political leader. There's a separation between church and politics. And that's the way I live my life. It's plenty of times I don't agree with stuff that my pastor says. So I'd be like, nope, not gonna do it. I'll wait and see. But with this situation, just like with the Obama Center, people said, well, are you gonna sign this thing for the Obama Center for what? Did the Obama Center sign the community agreement? No, they didn't. Then why would I sign something for that center? Well, we're going to bring so-and-so. It's amazing how you all can come to our community and claim 48% of everything, and we can't go to your community and claim 0% of anything. Your mayor, Lightfoot, gets on TV, and first she talks a bit big about this Lincolnwood thing, Lincoln Yards. Okay, well, enjoy this $90 million because you're not going to get anything else. But enjoy the $90 million. But they closed 50 schools. They got rid of a whole bunch of black teachers. And then they had the teachers in the street acting a fool. But whose kids were suffering? Mostly ours. Because if you can't afford to put your kid in a good school that's going to give them some advantages, you basically screwed up. What did Malcolm say? If you live in a poor neighborhood, you're probably going to have poor schools. If you got poor schools, you're probably going to have poor teachers, which leads to you getting a poor education, which leads to you getting a poor job, which leads to you, what? Being economically deprived. What I said poverty is? Poverty is an economic situation with social ramifications. And that's what they did to us in 1592 when they brought us here. And they've been on our neck ever since with that same crap. And we just take it. And let me remind everybody, this is not an entertainment show. This is an enlightenment show for all the so-called woke people. When did you wake up? You just woke up this year? You just woke up last year? Shit, way before Kaepernick, I got caught not saying the Pledge of Allegiance in school and got taken to the office. And shit, that was 1978. Oh, you've been woke a long time. No, I was just waking up then. And I'm getting woke to all different types of things along the way, and I'm just amazed, and I get upset when I see, hey, cuz, when I see us not coming together, when us arguing with each other, all these beautiful-minded black people with all this knowledge, and we can't get it together. We talked about the Willie Lynch letter last week. And it said it would take a paradigm switch for us to correct everything that was done to us during that 300 years of slavery. Because we still separated. And we don't know how to celebrate each other. And we don't know how to love each other. And we don't know how to appreciate each other. And we don't know how to come together without bringing them in. Sometimes the conversation is just for us. Sometimes the conversation is just for us. In 1972, they had a convention in Gary where all the black figureheads came together. Jesse and everybody came together. And we were trying to figure out what were our demands from the government on what was going to help us as black people in America get our stuff together. You want to know what happened? A group of black people from, I think that was Michigan, came in with some white folks. Why were they a part of this discussion? Because it wasn't about them. Oh, well, that's not fair. What you guys are saying isn't fair. Blah, blah. What's not fair? This is your country. We didn't ask to come here. We were drugged here. So we trying to have a discussion, but it's always some Negroes that got to drag these people in. Sometimes the discussion's not for you. The discussion's for us. And you ain't got to feel bad about the discussion being for us. And you ain't got to make up no excuses. And you ain't got to apologize. This ain't no tap dance show. It gets me frustrated. I'd be like, oh, it's crazy. We've seen what happened to our leaders. If you don't believe me, go to the FBI site. They've exposed all these documents after so many years, they had to release them to the public. And it'll show you. They were following King. They were following Malcolm. They were following Medgar Evers. They were following Elijah Muhammad. They were following the Black Panthers. And there was a directive to find any black person or black messiah that could open the minds of black people and target them for destruction. Let's kill your leaders. Let's destroy your family. Let's put the blinders on their eyes. They took the shackles off our feet and put them on our minds. But they say, we brothers of the same mind, I'm blind. It basically means we brothers. Why am I seeing this different than you? Why are we having a discussion about how great this dude 45 is? Instead of, what can we do, brother, together to make a difference? I didn't talk enough tonight. We're going to get back on the educating the thing. I tell people, they say, are you a historian? No, I'm not a historian, but you know what I got? I got a black room over here. And at a point in time in my life, I said, you know what? I got to re-educate myself on who I am. And I got some African friends. And they showed me, and I saw it. They showed me without even showing me what was missing from me. I saw who I was supposed to be and who I am. And it said, we're more Americans than we ever will be close to being Africans, because that's how much they took from us. And it's sad. Love, peace, soul. We out of here.
Step out of the car.
No, you don't have the right.
Step out of the car.
Do not have the right to do that.
I do have the right. Now step out or I will remove
I
you.
refuse to talk to you other than to identify myself.
Step
Now if your woman ain't no revolutionary, she'll persuade you to be a fucking slave for the rest of your days. She'll be grooming you on how to behave, teaching you how to coon and buck dance so that you can be safe. If that brother ain't no rider, soldier, no provider, molder of young minds, check it out, you got yourself a bitch. Think about the time that you invested in him. If he's wearing them skinny jeans, you a lesbian. For every 100 black women who ain't locked up, it's only 83 black men remain. Take away 1.5 million black men who might have benefited their women and their children. You don't know a war when it's waged against you, when it makes you drive your baby mama to the clinic just to kill your own. Ain't no legacy to leave behind, cause ain't nobody sitting on your throne. You motherfuckers are asleep in a war zone, living a nightmare, dying in your own home. If you don't stop, you gon' lose what you got left. I'd rather die trying to fight for my last breath. Freedom or death, you asleep in a war zone, living a nightmare, dying in your own home. If you don't fight, you gon' lose what you got left. I'd rather die trying to fight for my last breath. Freedom or death, nigga. Sandra Bland was a rider. She wouldn't have committed suicide, and you a motherfucking liar. It would not be wise to stop when you hear sirens and you see the police behind you, but you don't wanna die. They gon' shoot you if you run. They gon' say that you was going for the police gun. That's why they shot you like 120 times, but you was still coming, so they put another bullet in your lung. Them devils got you praying while they murder, because they know you on that bullshit. They steady with them full clips and body armor. They kill your women in the street, cause they hands out, begging cause you wanna be motherfuckers are asleep in a war zone, living a nightmare, dying in your own home. If you don't stop, you gon' lose what you got left. I'd rather die trying to fight for my last breath. Freedom or death, you asleep in a war zone, living a nightmare, dying in your own home. If you don't fight, you gon' lose what you got left. I'd rather die trying to fight for my last breath. Freedom or death, nigga. Freedom or death, nigga. Fuck that. Freedom or death, nigga.
If you just listen,
Freedom or death, nigga. Freedom or death, nigga. Freedom or death, nigga.
you were getting a warning. Until now, you're going to jail.
I'm getting it for what?